Well, we have a question from a sister from Morocco. Let's see what she says. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam, sister. You see, I have been married for 23 years and we have not been able to have children. Now I am 40 years old and he is 49 years old. He no longer pays attention to me. That means the man is not going to have sex with me. He does not care for me. He does not love me. Women have two needs, or rather, three. The first need of women is the most important, which is the emotional attention from a man. Women need love, love as an emotion, not as sex. Emotion means that a man pays attention to a woman, that he loves her, in words and actions, in everything, in the heart. Love in the heart is the most important thing for a woman. So, what she says, that sister says that my husband does not pay attention to me, means that he does not tell her that he loves her. It means that the man no longer says that he loves her. It means that she feels she has lost his love. The heart of that man is the most important need of the woman. Let's look at them one by one. The first need of every woman is to be loved, for that man's heart to belong to her. That is the most important thing. The second is the sexual relationship, but it is not the first for a woman. The first is the love in a man's heart. The second is the sexual relationship. The second and the third is to be a mother. To be loved as a mother. To have children. All three are human instincts, meaning that every human possesses them. They do not depend on culture or anything like that. Although different situations may arise, they can lead to a preference for one over another. Let's see in this case. She says, I am 40 years old, my husband is 49, and the man does not pay attention to me. This means he does not love me. In this case, she feels she has three needs. But all three have problems. First, the man no longer loves her. The man does not have a satisfying sexual relationship with her. The man no longer has a child with her. This means she is a woman who does not have a child. Therefore, she has three unmet needs. Now, what is happening to her? When a person has unmet needs, they will become prey to the devil. It means that the devil, through the needs you have, starts to deceive you. Let's see what it says. He no longer pays attention to me. Our relationship is not like it used to be, and that makes things worse. And I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. We have already mentioned the three unmet needs. That confuses me. It means she is receiving temptations. Let's see what those temptations are. It makes me think of other people. What does it mean? Many times women think, look, since I don't have a child, it could be the man's fault. That is not so far from the truth, because many times in the West, men who masturbate from a young age will have problems with sterility when they get older. That is to say, a child who during his adolescence masturbates or is going to have sex like this with many people. Any problem with this? When he becomes a 20-year-old man and now wants to father children, he will have problems. That is why I have even seen doctors who say that it is best for a boy to maintain his chastity. A boy, to remain a virgin, a boy, a male, until the moment of marriage. Then that boy will have healthier testicles. It means that the healthier the reproductive system is, the stronger, more powerful, and more masculine it will be. But unfortunately, in the West, this will be the problem. So, what does she say? She says it makes me think of other people. Well, it's a sin. And here, because she has that weak point, she has that need. The devil always leads us from our weak point, pushing us towards sin. Let's see. It makes me think of other people who are kind to me. She has a need. there are others. There are always other men who treat women kindly. Because a woman who has that weakness is an easy prey. Listen to this. Starting a sexual relationship with a married woman is always easier than with a virgin girl. Because a married woman can have sex, can have unprotected relationships, and all the children will blame their own husband, which a virgin girl cannot do. So, this is a sin that is much worse. So, as Dana. Fornication with a married woman is an unforgivable sin in the eyes of God, which if God does not forgive, because it is easier, when sin is easier, like sodomy, it is easier for a man to be next to another man than for a man to be next to a woman. That is why when sin is easier, the break will need to be stronger. Even the penal punishment in Islam in these cases will be stronger. Because when you see that there is more speed towards sin, more ease towards sin, you need to apply the brake more firmly to be able to control the human being. So in this case, she says she has a brother-in-law. Her husband's brother, who is a tentative man. Let's see what he says. The other man says he is taking advantage of the girl's need and begins to show her a lot of affection and love. It's like how a man wants to win over that girl. And poor thing, she is seeing that she is about to give herself to that unfaithful man who wants to win her over. Because a man who is going to show love and affection to a married woman means he is competing with her husband. It is the worst thing a person can do, to compete. Compete with a woman's husband, to win over a married woman. Conquering married women is one of the unforgivable sins in Islam. God does not forgive it. She does not forgive him. Because the truth is that it is easier to win over a married woman, because after a couple of years of marriage, always. A man and a woman, when they are together, have been married for about 15 years or 10 years. Sometimes the relationship can decline, as we might say. It can wither away. So when a man with the same fervent and strong love to conquer a woman approaches a married woman, who generally does not receive much love from her husband, because the relationship has become routine, suddenly there will be a source of much love. That woman, whether she is a girl, we can say is easy. So look, how that man loves me. It may be that one surrenders, and that is the moment that destroys one's material life and life beyond. In other words, that is what is called temptation. That is what you have to resist against that temptation. Reject the devil and reject that tempting man, because that man is an unfaithful man. He is a missionary representative of the devil who comes from hell to lead you to hell. Because if that person were a good person, they would never betray you by wanting to destroy your life. So, what does she say? She says, that confuses me and makes me think of other people who are kind to me, like her brother, her husband's brother. I know that he loved me before my husband did. Even before the marriage, that young man wanted sex with her. Imagine, and that confuses me even more. Dear sister, can't you allow that man, evil one, to come closer? So she says, I ignored him. She resisted when she was fine with my husband. Well, all women are like that. When they are happy with their husband, they ignore other lovers. The problem starts at the moment of the fight, at the moment when they are in a bad situation. And her brother looks at me hopelessly. He is a lustful, ruthless man who is devouring that girl with his eyes. There are men so lecherous that they are devouring the girl with their eyes, just like that. Then she says, But now that my husband is not paying attention to me and his brother is looking at me in such a hot sexual way, it makes me feel a confusing emotion. It is awakening her sexual desire because a man like that, so macho and wanting to sleep with all the women, excites her. When she has that need, does not have children, then perhaps the devil tempts her. He says, look, maybe that man is the strongest male. Maybe his testicles work better. Maybe that man can give you a child. But what kind of child? Illegitimate child, bastard child. It is not a blessing, it is a curse. Having no child is much better than having a bastard child. Be careful, sister. That is a temptation from the devil. And then everyone also has the sexual need. And many times we cannot satisfy our sexual needs because we are traveling, because we are far away, or because we have problems with our partner. It's something normal. When I got married, my grandfather, who was a wise man, called me. He said, "Come here. I want to talk to you." He told me, my son, that before marriage you had to have chastity as the only way to protect your faith, because you would not have access to sex. After marriage, it's the same story. My grandfather told me that after marriage you also have to protect your faith with chastity, because your wife won't always be available to you. A woman will have a week of her menstrual period in a month, at least 1 week up to 10 days. So, in a week you have to either maintain chastity or satisfy yourself in another way. So, you are not going to have what you are looking for in the sexual relationship. Therefore, you have to practice chastity. Many times she will be on a trip. Many times she will be on the other side of the world. You will not have access to your wife. He means, my grandfather taught me this. He said, "My son, even though you are a married man from today, that you have gotten married, you must know that the only way to save yourself is through chastity and modesty. It means that even though you are married, you have to learn to control your lust. If you do not control your lust, it will control you and will not leave you in peace until it annihilates you, annihilating your life here and the life beyond." Dear sister, we understand you. We understand you well. You as a woman have needs. First, to be loved. What that stupid man of yours doesn't know how to do. Secondly, you need a satisfying sexual relationship that leads to orgasm. This is what you are currently having a problem with, regarding the man you have. The third thing is that you need to have a child, which you have not been able to have until today. God knows if you will be able to have one by the end of your life or not. Those three problems have solutions. They have solutions. Right. But the solution is not betrayal. Never. No betrayal will ever be justified. Neither in the eyes of the people will they judge you tomorrow. They will judge you as a prostitute, as an ugly woman, as a bad woman. How are you going to judge yourself? Now you say, "I was unaware of that." Why were you unaware? Because it was a sin. Because your conscience will not let you be at peace. Let's suppose, and to understand a sin, you always have to suppose what consequence it may bring you. Let's read until the end, she says. Then her brother, my husband's brother, is looking at me in a hopelessly in love way. A lustful man who wants to have sex with me with his eyes. So, that makes me feel a confusing emotion. I love a man like that, so hot, who looks at me with such sexual desire. And when my husband ignores me sexually, and his brother sees me as so sexual, I love that. It's like the place, the emptiness of my husband is being replaced. I know that's very bad. What can I do? And the worst part is that I can't live without having a child from my womb. What should I do? Of course, you can live without a child of your own. It's something that you are injecting into your head. There are many people who, I will explain. How can I resign myself to not having children? Very well. Let's look at it one by one. First, when a temptation of sin comes to you, You need to think about what the consequences of that sin will be. Do not think about the sin. What the devil does always makes us think about the sin, how delightful sin is. It means, the devil tells you, look, imagine that man with that big penis he has. He is going to give you such delicious sex, and then he is going to give you all the juice he has, and he is going to leave you pregnant, and you will have the child you have always wanted. Oh, look at how much joy, how much happiness. The devil speaks to you like this. He always talks about sin, not about the consequences. For what? To add fuel to your fire. When the fire heats up, it gets hot, hot, hot. And then you will reach a level of desire that you can't control, leading you to commit adultery. It happens to all of us. If I also let the devil throw wood on the fire, lust annihilates us. Me, you, everyone. What is happening to your brother-in-law that a married man or a married woman like you has to suffer? The temptations from a lewd man. Very well. Therefore, we must not we cannot allow the devil to throw fuel onto our fire. Yes, we have certain bodily needs, sexual needs, the need to have children, many needs. But we cannot allow the devil, who is a sworn enemy, to annihilate us because of our needs. This must be understood. Wise God knew what was best for me. Therefore, if God has forbidden it, that sexual relationship with a foreign man cannot be done. There is your annihilation. So you can no longer think about sin. Forget sin. And you always have to reflect on the consequences. Let's see. Suppose that 10 times you have had the orgasm in a relationship with this man. Very well. Not very good, it's very bad. But let's see the consequences. Let's suppose you have achieved everything. What did you want? Orgasm, sexual relationship. What else? The son. Let's suppose you are pregnant with him. I want to ask you a question. 10 days have satisfied your sexual relationship. I am going to tell you my logic. The logic that made Sheikh Qomi never seek women in Latin America. I have never, in my life in Latin America, when I had already been single for 2 months in Latin America, ever touched a woman. Although the Arab community was available, you know that they practiced temporary marriage in the Arab community. And many, even some brothers, were very tentative. The Sheikh said, "Here we have a girl. Do you want me to make her for you?" I said no. What was the reason? The logic that Sheikh could endure for 2 months with God's help. 2 months, 3 months without touching a woman in Latin America, being in universities everywhere. I always asked myself that question. Well, today I have the sexual need. How am I going to satisfy her today? Tell me, in a way that the devil presents me, or with some justification. Today, if I have satisfied him in that way, what do I want to do tomorrow? The day after tomorrow, what do I want to do? 20 days later, what do I want? After a month, what do I want? After 2 months, what do I want? This need won't go away. Very well, today, you had sex with your husband's brother. Tomorrow, what do you want to do? The sexual need does not end. You have to come to a logic. What do you want to do tomorrow with your sexual need? What do you want to do the day after tomorrow? What do you want to do after a week? All right, let's assume that for 10 days, every night you have had sex with this A. Haram sex, a prohibited haram adultery. So, what happens after that? It's been a month and you're already pregnant. How do you want to satisfy your sexual need afterwards? If you want to indulge in sin, that sexual need won't let you rest until it takes you to the depths of hell, like many people who have rotted in sin. And you will be like a person who lost eternal life because of lust. I can lose it too. If I am not going to control, if I cannot curb my sexual need, you, like any other human being, I, like any other human being, like Balame Baor, the great mystical sage among the children of Israel, a man who had the sacred word, a man who had reached such a high spiritual level, that his supplications were answered. A great man, how can he fall due to lust? So be very careful. It's not that you say I or I am Sheikh Qomi. No, one must always be very careful with lust, which is the moment and the place that can annihilate us, you, each one. Every human being until the last day of their life. The only way that God has allowed us to satisfy our sexual need is with a partner. With your partner. I with my partner, you with your partner, that man with his partner, each person with their partner, halal. So, another way, no, it's that your lust will lead you to your annihilation. You have to understand that. The consequence afterwards will not leave you in peace. The continuation of satisfying lust in an illegal way, it will defame you. It will defame you in society. Everyone will hate you. You could risk your life. That man could be your husband one day and wants to take revenge for what you have done. In other words, you are risking your life. You are doing many things, dear sister. Yes, then, that child is born. Let's suppose you are going to have a child. It will be born. That child never forgives you. Why? Because that child, Mom, I am a bastard child. I do not forgive you. Imagine that. I mean, even your own child will not forgive you. That is horrible, dear sister. It is not normal for a person to say, I am going to commit sin, lust, and then my illegitimate child will forgive me. No, the bastard child is not going to forgive his parents. That's another matter. God does not forgive you. Because you have betrayed your husband, you have betrayed your family. So, what is there to do? One by one. We have said, you have 3 unmet needs. That can be solved. First, she says, my husband does not pay attention to me. There are many ways to sexually awaken your husband. Look online for methods to awaken your husband. And a man can reach a state, we call it the state of sexual insensitivity. It can be. So, maybe you need to change the method, the way, the position, the way of dressing, the food, the timing. Maybe you have to take the initiative in sex. All men, or maybe the man is sick. There is medication for that. There are alternative medicine, medications, and there are certain plants that you can obtain through alternative medicine that can help your husband awaken his needs. That is the first thing. Then the sexual need can easily be addressed. You just need your intention. You should say, I am going to take the initiative to regain my life. What else do you need? Love. Love. That your husband loves you. The toughest people are also accessible. What does that mean? That also requires you to take the initiative. Love and affection are things that can be taught to people. It means you can teach your husband to love you. How to do it? Let me say one thing. When you have a ball in your hand and you throw the ball against the wall, the harder you throw the ball against the wall, which is immobile, the harder the wall will bounce the ball back to you. So it all depends on the energy with which you throw the ball. Love between a couple is like this. When you love and express the strongest love towards your partner, even the most inaccessible partner, the toughest man cannot resist. There will come a point when the man cannot resist. He will reflect the love back to you. In other words, when you love more strongly, you continue to endure in love, express love, take the initiative, and express yourself. You will uplift your husband. Perhaps you have humiliated your husband by saying that sex with that man is not worth it. Maybe you have told him that he is a sterile man. Maybe you have said that you desire another man. Maybe you have expressed his uselessness. Do you understand me? Then that has extinguished the fire of the man, the fire of love, the fire of sexual need, the fire of everything. When a woman destroys her husband, the man will become cold in sex. He will be weak in sex. The man will suffer. The man will no longer love his wife. Do you see? Love and sex, they are all already linked. And you can't say, I'm going to sit at home and wait for my husband to express his love for me. That will never happen. You have to take the initiative. You have to start this yourself. So when you are going to start all of that, you will know that your life is going to change. And you have to trust in God. Ask God to bless your relationship. Every morning, after the Salat al-Subh, Salat al-Fajr, after the dawn prayer, start to remember 10 positive points about your husband. At noon, do the same, and at night, do the same. After a week, you will see that the fire of love from your husband has ignited in your heart. After 20 days, you will see that you are loving your husband in a fervent way. And sexual satisfaction, orgasm, is 95% about how you see your husband. A woman who sees her husband as a good, strong man, meaning emotionally, loves that man and will enjoy sex with him. But if you, in your imagination, in your emotion, destroy that man, you consider him a weak man. You are weak, your testicles do not work, you are weak. So, emotionally, when you are already cold, you will not enjoy sex with that man. It means everything depends on you. So, sexual dissatisfaction. It is suffering that you no longer endure, of not being loved. It all depends on you. You can recover. I'm not saying that your husband is innocent. No. I'm saying, let's suppose he is the worst. He is bad, he has a bad tongue, let's suppose he hits you, let's suppose he is a horrible man. Ready. In the case of a horrible man, you can heal all these wounds. And what are we going to do about that lecherous man who is looking at you with that eye, seeking sex with you? What should be done with a sinful man? Stay as far away as possible. Close. All access points. Close all the doors. Cut off all kinds of relationship with that man. Don't even greet him. You are going to block him from all calls. You are going to block him from everything. In real life, you are also going to block him. You are neither going to greet him, nor are you going to welcome him, nor are you going to think anything of him. Think of him as a piece of fire that is getting closer to you, just like that. Look at him, the representative of the devil on earth, who is going to give you life. He only has one mission, to annihilate your life and make your life a mess. That is the mission of that foreign man who wants to destroy your spiritual life. When you go to fornicate, you can no longer enjoy prayer. Think about that. You lose God. You lose everything. And then the devil will dominate you. What if after that he takes you to sleep with another man and then with another man? So do you want to turn a believing woman into a prostitute? Easy, that happens. Do you think a woman who is now a prostitute was a prostitute from birth? No. She succumbed to the first temptation of the devil, and then she was disappointed and gave in to the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Little by little, he got used to sin and reached a point where there is no way out. So trust in God, ask God to strengthen your faith, ask God to help you. And I also told you that you can search on the internet. There are also many videos on our YouTube channel. What I can even recommend is the main causes of infidelity in a couple. There are more than 90 classes in which we have explained the main causes. That will help you, sister, quite a bit to change your view on couple life. God bless you. I will also make the supplication for God to bless you, and may He strengthen your faith so that you can resist against the devil. May the peace and blessing of God be with all of you.